I put out a tweet the other day about some ideas to tune Stasis in PvP that seemed to get a lot of attention, so I wanted to turn it into a video and provide some further thoughts and ideas on how to bring Stasis more in line with the light-based subclasses. I want to be clear about one thing up front. The changes I'm suggesting in this video are 100% focused on PvP, and I would not want these changes to impact the PvE sandbox negatively. I really enjoy how Stasis works in PvE currently, and I'd hate to see anything nerf it because I feel like it's in a pretty good state for PvE right now. By the way, if you're not following me yet on Twitter, my tag is PattyCakesGG. I'd love to chat with you over on that platform. So to preface these suggestions, I wanted to first chat about the current state of Stasis in PvP, and then explain exactly which mechanics I think need some tuning. Then after each topic, I'll share a few ideas on how Bungie could go about balancing Stasis to be more in line with the light-based subclasses to promote diversity for PvP. As I mentioned in my last video, we're feeling the effects of another round of power creep in the overall Destiny sandbox. If you haven't yet played much Trials this season, it's essentially a huge Stasis slam fest right now. A hilariously high number of kills are consisting of some combination of the Glacier Grenade, and then either the Hunter Shatter Dive move, or the Titan Slide to burst through Stasis crystals and create a massive explosion that kills anyone nearby. I'm not one of those people that thinks Stasis was a total mistake to add to the game. On the contrary, I've really enjoyed some aspects of it. I'm a huge fan of adding movement tech into the game, because I think it's another way that the skill ceiling can be raised, and it provides a way for skilled players to outplay opponents and win those 1vx situations. The Hunter Shatter Dive is game changing with its ability to instantly descend to the ground and evade death from a sniper or a team shot. The Hunter class has always been strong for its ability to ascend vertically in an instant with a jump, but that hanging airtime can lead to a lot of deaths, and Shatter Dive provides another way to master movement and reactively control your verticality, and I really do love it for that. It also provides some damage resistance, allowing you to get to the ground safely, which might actually be a bit too strong, but it's certainly nice to have when you're playing Hunter. Shatter Dive is also a great way to clean up kills on weakened enemies, and overall I think it's super fun. I don't think that Shatter Dive itself is the heart of the problem, but rather the way that it interacts with both the Glacier Grenade, which deals a huge burst of damage when shattered, as well as the Fissures Fragment, which increases the range and damage of the burst. If anything, I think Shatter Dive maybe could receive a nerf for how frequently you can use it. A short cooldown might help protect against spamming it, but I don't think the ability itself is to blame for the current nuclear stasis bombing meta. With the Glacier Grenade Fissure combo strength, most other grenades seem irrelevant, which really hurts diversity in the sandbox. In a similar way, the Stasis Titan's slide and melee abilities are awesome for increasing the skill gap of the game with the cool new movement abilities. I think each of these are really interesting additions to the game, and it opens up the movement skill gap tremendously. It's really fun watching top tier Titans using these abilities to outplay opponents. The problem again is how these abilities, with the slide in particular, interact with the Glacier Grenade and the Fissures Fragment. It's just too easy to get free kills by throwing your Glacier Grenade anywhere near an enemy and then sliding through the wall to kill anyone nearby. This is a grenade we're talking about, not a super or a power weapon. Speaking of supers, the damage output of the Glacier Wall combo is so strong that I basically have no fear of supers anymore because I know that I can just bait them around a corner and then dunk combo on them to instantly delete them. You don't even have to be that close to pull it off. I don't think this combo should be able to kill roaming supers that are at full health, especially not at the range that they're able to currently. So my suggestion to Bungie would be to do two things. Number one is to nerf the damage output and range of the Glacier Wall, and then also nerf the bonus of the Fissures Fragment. Again, these changes ideally would only impact PvP. I think the sweet spot would be for the slam combo to only kill an enemy when they're either frozen by the Glacier Grenade or within just a couple meters of the crystal. The damage output and range of shattering a Glacier Wall when using the Fissures Fragment should be somewhat closer to the default Glacier Grenade currently, if not even a bit weaker. This would allow the Glacier Wall to still work creatively as a barrier to block line of sight, or as a platform to add more vertical play options to take off angles, and also as a freeze mechanic when hitting an enemy directly, but it would not be used as a default damage dealing method unless you're able to drop the grenade right on an enemy, and even if you're able to do that, outright kills would be rare. The next issue I wanted to talk about is the Duskfield grenades. I don't see these as a major issue right now, but I promise they will become one as soon as the Glacier Grenade gets nerfed. The single issue I have with these grenades is the range at which they can suck you into the dome. In my opinion, it's just way too far, and as soon as everyone in PvP is running these grenades, it's going to become a huge issue where you're sucked out of cover constantly. As a principle, I don't think you should be rewarded for missing your grenade. These already have a pretty large area of effect, and the extra vacuum distance is just too generous, especially since it already pulls people to the middle when you're trapped by the grenade. My friend Castle has a great video showing each of the current aspect and fragment interactions, and his video suggests that the current suck-in range, so to speak, is about 4 meters. I'd like to see Bungie either remove the ability to suck in enemies into the dome in PvP, or at least reduce the range so it's maybe 1 meter or less. The next topic I wanted to cover is the Stasis Titan Behemoth Super. It currently lasts way too long and has too much damage resistance. It's so common to see Stasis Titans wiping a full team over and over again with the Super. While editing my previous video featuring my friend Castle, I was cracking up at how insane the Super is right now. His gameplay clips feature the Super lasting seemingly forever, and winning 1v3 trials rounds almost exclusively with the Super because of how long it lasts and how hard it is to kill. To me, this is a pretty simple change. The duration should be shortened by a few seconds, and the damage resistance should be reduced to be more in line with the other Supers. The next topic I wanted to cover is the freeze mechanic for PvP. I've disliked how this mechanic works in PvP since day one of Beyond Light. I think the freeze lasts too long in general, and it takes too much health to break out. One of my other favorite games to play is The Elder Scrolls Online, which also has a stunlock mechanic in PvP. The way they balance the mechanic is to give you the ability to break out nearly instantaneously, but at the cost of eating a resource called stamina. This leads to a gameplay decision where you can either tank the damage while being stunlocked for a second, or burn some stamina to break out faster. Obviously, we don't have a stamina bar in Destiny, but I think something similar could be done with our super, grenade, melee, or class ability energy, or maybe some combination of each. What if you got frozen and had to make the decision, do I break out right away and lose a little bit of super progress, or am I safe enough to stay frozen for a second and keep my super? I think that would be a much more interesting gameplay decision. On top of that change, I'd like to see some mechanic that prevents being refrozen too quickly after breaking out. True Vanguard tweeted out an idea in mid-November that I thought was really smart. Introduce a buff called Thawed that anytime you break out of a freeze lasts about 10 seconds. This would give you a window of time where you can't become refrozen. I can't tell you how many times I've intentionally refrozen a player in the current sandbox when I knew I couldn't get to the kill before they broke out the first time, and I would just freeze them again to get the guaranteed kill. I don't think this should be possible since there's basically no counter to it. The final topic I wanted to cover is the slow mechanic. I think the slowdown effect is a bit too severe in PvP, and imposing the accuracy penalty is too harsh. I'd like to see the movement speed penalty when slowed nerfed a little bit, and then the accuracy penalty removed. The way it works right now, you're basically guaranteed dead when you're slowed by a good player, especially with all the combos like the Hunter Dodge plus the Shuriken auto freeze. Reducing the severity of the slow would allow you to make some counterplays before you're just instantly dead. So those are my thoughts on Stasis in PvP currently. As I mentioned in the beginning, I don't hate Stasis and I don't think it should be outright removed like many people seem to think. On the contrary, I feel like it adds some really valuable depth to the sandbox, particularly with the new movement capabilities. However, in my eyes, I think it's clearly a bit too strong right now, and I do think it needs to be tuned a little bit further. I'd love to hear what you think though. Does Stasis need a nerf or is it okay as it is? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up rating to help other people find it, and also subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss my next video. I have a ton of videos that I'm working on and I'm really excited to share them with you. I stream every week over on Twitch. You can catch me live at twitch.tv/pattycakespc. Also, consider joining our community Discord. We have almost 7,000 members who love to talk about Destiny all day, every day. The link to join is discord.gg/pattycakes. That's all for now. Catch you guys next time.